The right-wing media group responsible for distributing the film 2000 Mules has been forced to apologize for putting out that trash heap. The group had issued a public apology on Friday and said that it would stop distributing this discredited 2020 election conspiracy theory film after losing a lawsuit filed by a Georgia man who was wrongly accused of doing voter fraud. So now the Georgia man, Mark Andrews, said in his 2022 lawsuit that 2000 Mules, a film and book by far-right activist Dinesh D'Souza, contained a string of bogus claims about the 2020 election, leading to threats of violence against him and his family, and had severely damaged his reputation. So this bullshit movie was spread by a lot of figures in right-wing media. And not only that, but also politicians like former president and now convicted felon Donald Trump, who couldn't handle legitimately losing an election, so he turned increasingly more towards conspiracy theories, spread the big lie, which ended up, of course, leading to the Capitol riots on January 6th. So, yeah. Now, Salem Media, in a Friday statement, said this, quote, you're going to love this non-apology apology, all right? It was never our intent that the publication of the 2000 Mules film and book would harm Mr. Andrews. We apologize for the hurt and the inclusion of Mr. Andrews' image in the movie, book, and promotional materials have caused Mr. Andrews and his family. We have removed the film from Salem's platforms, and there will be no further distribution of the film or the book by Salem. That's it. That's really it. We're really sorry, that we hurt Mr. Andrews. Okay. That apology from Salem came as part of a larger settlement to the lawsuit filed by Andrews. All right. So again, I love this non-apology apology because, again, they didn't actually admit that the film was trash, that it was full of easily disproved and already disproved, debunked claims about voter fraud. Okay. They just said, yeah, we're sorry that Mr. Andrews got caught up in our trash heap of propaganda. Oops. In the movie, Andrews was videotaped with his face blurred, depositing his ballot along with those belonging to his family into a drop box. Perfectly fine, perfectly legal, no problem, right? Drop boxes were widely used. There was no problem with them until after the election, until Donald Trump lost, and then suddenly war on drop boxes, okay? And then all these allegations of so-called mules putting in illegal ballots. In fact, the film, there was a voiceover by Dinesh D'Souza, right? When Andrews was putting in his ballot and the ballots of his family members, he said this, quote, "What you are seeing is a crime. These are fraudulent votes." No, they weren't. That was a demonstrable lie. He had no idea what was in the ballots. The fact that Salem had to admit in their apology that the Georgia Bureau of Investigations had cleared Andrews of any illegal voting activity that was spread from his actions depicted in the film. He said, we couldn't find anything. What he did was completely legal and totally fine. No fraudulent ballots whatsoever. So, yes, Dinesh D'Souza caught in an easily demonstrable lie. Now, speaking of D'Souza, who is, he's also was a convicted felon. He was pardoned by Donald Trump, so big surprise there. Salem threw him under the bus as well, saying, quote, that it had relied on representations that D'Souza had made. We just relied on, the representation. I mean, what are you going to do? We took him at his word. Oh, you took him at his word. Well, that was your first mistake. But no, here's the thing, though. I think there's a lot of prominent figures, or I should say there's very few prominent figures in right-wing media that actually believed this voter fraud narrative, okay? They knew it was BS. They knew it was crap. I mean, just look at the hosts on Fox News. The majority of them did not believe it. We have the text messages, okay, from the Dominion lawsuit of Tucker Carlson being like, no, this is just, no, I don't believe this at all. Sean Hannity saying, I don't believe this at all. Carlson going after Sidney Powell, saying that she's lunatic, an insane person. And of course, her claims were absolutely just bonkers. Okay. Talking about
in Venezuela.
Venezuela, the ghost of Hugo Chavez coming up with these ways to steal the election from Donald Trump to give it to Joe Biden. No, there's not true. Not a shred or an ounce of truth of any of that. Okay. Voter fraud is so incredibly rare. Okay. And over the past couple of elections, the rare instances where there was voter fraud perpetuated by Republicans and using some of the lamest excuses of, I just wanted to do it to see, whether or not the system actually works. If we could, I did voter fraud to prove that there was voter fraud. No, you're a moron. You thought you could get away with it because you believed in conservative media, which projects and says, see, it's the Democrats that are cheating all the time. It's so easy to cheat. People will be like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to cheat. No, don't cheat. Don't cheat. Don't do voter fraud, okay? It doesn't work. It gets caught. You get caught just about every single time, okay? And that's why it's so incredibly rare, because there are mechanisms in place to prevent in-person voter fraud, mail-in ballot voter fraud, all of this stuff. There's systems in place to actually protect the integrity of the vote. But if you believe idiots like Dinesh D'Souza, you think, voter fraud everywhere. Voter fraud everywhere. But it's not. It's not. No, the real frauds are people that push this kind of bullshit conspiracy theories, okay? Look, the base, though, and there's a reason that they continue to push this, even though most of them, I think, don't actually believe it. The base believes it, okay? And since people like D'Souza are drawn to money, it turns out being a pretty good grift, okay? Or at least it was for a while. It also works really well for politicians who want to push voter restrictions, right? To help them stay in power or amass power, to help gerrymander districts, to make sure that, black people get their votes suppressed. Things like that. Works really well. But in this time, in the Trump era, they all flew too close to the sun. They started going after election workers, election companies, even voters, as you saw with Mr. Andrews. Look, Ruby Freeman and Shane Moss, they were accused by Rudy Giuliani of manipulating ballots to, they're election workers, right? And, they decided, no, we're not going to take this clear defamation of our character. We're going to sue Rudy Giuliani. And they won. They won. And this guy also sued and won. And the winning keeps on happening. Last month, the pro-Trump network, One America News, had settled a lawsuit brought by Smartmatic over their promotion of lies about the 2020 election. Okay? So that's the reality. Apparently, the only place Republicans can win on this lie is at the ballot box, because certainly they ain't winning in the courtroom. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.